Every year, the Week of Religions takes place in the first week of November. Approximately 100 events are organized annually across Switzerland, providing an opportunity for individuals to engage in encounters and dialogues between the various religions and cultures coexisting in the country. The Week of Religions is organized by the interreligious network IRAS COTIS. To get an insight on this year's event, we spoke to Claudia Hoffmann, expert and coordinator for religious affairs in the city of Basel, Switzerland. This is Neighbourhood News, and you're listening to the audio story. Ms. Claudia Hoffmann, thank you for speaking to Neighbourhood News. You are the expert and coordinator for religious affairs. Before we get into our main theme, could you tell our listeners and readers who you are, how long have you been associated with this department, a bit of your background?
I'm in this department for 3 years now. Before that, I was working at the University of Basel as a researcher and lecturer in the field of intercultural theology. So my academic background is theologian, but my research projects were mostly in the field of religious studies and interreligious studies.
Now, the department that you are in, the Department of Equality and Diversity, what kind of topics does it pick up? What are the sub-departments? What does it do day to day in Basel?
So this department has to make sure that all people living in Basel have the same chances and are treated likewise, not taking into account their gender, their sexual orientation, any kind of handicaps, their religion, their skin color, the language, the backgrounds. The department is in charge of taking care that all people have the same opportunities and same chances. So the department has 3 sub-departments. One is for equality, and this sub-department is in charge of equality in terms of women and men, all genders, LGBTQIA+. So this field or subfield of diversity. And then the second sub-department is our sub-department, which is called Integration and Anti-Racism. And the third one is the sub-department for rights for human beings with a handicap. And then our department works together with many associations or religious communities. We work together with civil society and also with other departments. This is very important for our work to make sure that all other departments, for example, the educational department or the migration department, police, all these departments are becoming more sensitive in questions of diversity and equality.
Now let's talk about the upcoming Religious Week. The theme this time is Alles Fremd. Everything strange? Is that how it would be translated?
Yeah, that's a good question because fremd has several significations. Strange, but also foreign. And it's a critical term as well. You can feel as a stranger or things feel foreign to you. The topic says religion is something ambivalent. It can help you to integrate or to feel at home, but it can also make you feel a stranger. This year we have chosen to take a theme for our opening event, but the whole week is not only under this theme. So the communities that are involved, they are free to organize something which has no connection with this question, alles fremd. So it's only for the opening event, and it's also a little bit of a question so that people get involved. Okay, what does religion mean to me? Is it something I feel comfortable with? Is it something strange to me? And we also try to invite people that are not religious to participate in this week.
For somebody who has not attended this event ever, what is the shape of activities that take place?
So first of all, the whole week is a national project. So the Woche der Religionen is a project of IRAS COTIS, which is an interreligious national organization, and it takes place every year in all of Switzerland. And in Basel, we have a very strong Woche der Religionen. Our department works together with INFOREL. This is an internet platform that organizes our whole week. And we try to have many different events in this week. So every event is interreligious. It's always 2 or more religious communities that are involved. And then you have several kinds of events. So you have a discussion, roundtable, Podiumsdiskussion, or there's a theater, there's a music, a concert, like a music event, there's a more meditative evening event, there's even a prayer in the end of the week. It's a manifold week, and I think for everybody, we have something.
I went through some of the past events and I was fascinated by the themes that have been picked up. There was religion and humor, food and religion, there was art and religion. How do you arrive at a theme? Do you look at the socio-political environment or something that somebody suggests?
In the previous years, the whole week was taking place under a specific theme. So religion and humor, religion and art, that was for the whole week. And now we try to organize the week actually without an overarching topic, but we only find the topic for the opening event. And for this procedure, we work together with our roundtable of religion, where 18 religious communities from our region are a part of. And then together with me and INFOREL, we select several topics and then we discuss it at the roundtable, or they bring up a topic. Last year, we had something with youth, the younger generation in religious communities. And yes, sure, we are trying to take into account social political themes that are not too specific, but maybe also themes that have a certain significance in civil society, in daily life, such as food or humor. These are themes that are not specifically religious. That's also interesting to work with a theme that is not a specific religious theme.
After we come back, we delve deeper into the projects undertaken by the department, what makes such a week successful, and the shape of the week of religion in the future. Here is the second part of our conversation. Besides the Religion Week, there are also many small projects that your department handles. There is an audio guide, which is Sound of Religion, and there is Visitor Religion, where school students can go visit religious institutions. Tell us about some of these campaigns and projects and why there is a need to do these smaller events year round.
As you probably know, Basel is a very secular place. So most of the inhabitants of Basel do not belong to an institutionalized religion anymore. I think it's more than 50%, of around 60% do not belong to a religion. So I think our first or one important task is to make religions visible. So when you walk through Basel, you see there are old churches. So Christianity is quite visible. But we also have smaller religious communities people do not know about. For example, there's a big Hindu temple in Dreispitz Areal. I think many people living in Basel do not know that. And I see it as an important task for our department to give these communities a platform to make their religious life visible and to also give them a chance to participate in a political and social political life. So this is what we make with the Roundtable of Religion. We invite all religions to take part and to discuss so that every religious community is seen and heard. And second goal is also exchange, so that the religious communities are all minorities in a secular environment. So I think it's important to encourage every community to be in touch with other religious communities. We have one project with the Jewish communities in order to remember the first Jewish community in Basel and how they have been persecuted and killed in the 14th century. We have a project specifically with the Muslim community where they are writing a little booklet about to live as a Muslim in Basel. I think all our projects are for visibility, getting to know each other and exchange.
You mentioned that majority of population in Basel is religiously agnostic. Mostly politics and religion is seen as a very explosive combination. I have been to some schools in other continents where we were told that don't discuss sports, religion, and politics. These three topics you cannot bring to school. On the contrary, it is a sensitive topic, but I see it being pushed into the mainstream for conversation. What is the goal to do this as an initiative? At the end of the day, year after year, when you see these events, what is the larger picture here?
Firstly, I want to go back to the secular environment in Switzerland, and that you said most of the people could be counted to an agnostic group. In my opinion, I think most of the people do not belong to an institutionalized organization anymore, or not to a religious community. But I think spirituality, believing, is still a very important factor in the life of human beings. So we cannot just trust the numbers, because the numbers only count who belongs to a community. And I think this factor is going down. People do not want to belong to a religious community, but they still have religious feelings. So spirituality and not knowing what comes after we are dead, all these questions are still important for many humans. I think this is important to say or to know or to think about. I think the overarching goal is we try to contribute to a living together in peace. So not to talk about religion or not to try to integrate diverse groups into the civil society life is not a good idea, in my opinion. I think it's very important to try to take into account all aspects of life and even all groups, so all religions.
Over the years, how has been the reaction? Is there a way to measure how the transformations over the years have happened because of this religious week?
Yeah, this is always an important and difficult question. One way to measure is measure the numbers. So I think in the last years, we could reach out to a more diverse group of people. So mostly in religious questions, older people are interested in. So that's also when we see religious communities, there's a missing age group. So the people between 18 and 30 are missing in most religious communities until they have an own family and children, and then they maybe remember, oh, there has been something. But in the last 2 years, we really tried to reach younger people, and I think that was very successful. So this week in the opening event, we have people between 20 and 30 that are presenting something, how they deal with the feeling of being a stranger in their own religion or with their own religion. And a second success, despite all the political difficulties in our world, people still try to be part of the week of religion. And I think it was last year or the year before, people have been organizing a service for peace, and the personal encounters have been very fruitful for the persons involved, and they continued to have this kind of encounters. So I think that's also a success when the encounters last for longer than one evening or one event.
We were discussing this earlier. It may or may not be true that next year might be the 20th year, but at least the idea has been around for 2 decades. What do you see the future of the Religion Week, especially in the light of such a long journey that has been taken? Where do you think this goes, especially in such a volatile environment where the divisions are just not stopping? We keep dividing to even smaller groups and ideologies. How do you think the shape of Religion Week be?
I think this week that takes place once a year is actually a very good format, because it's once a year and people know it's always in the first week of November. If you like, you can go to many interreligious encounters, and it's informative, but it has also spiritual aspects. So it's a very diverse week. I think it's very important to have a focus on the younger generation, because are there enough younger people that are willing to be involved in a format like this? So is the structure of the week of the religion and the goal we have with this week, is this aligned? When we say we also want to reach out to younger people, we want to reach out to secular people, then this is maybe something for the future to think about. I think the week doesn't live from a certain team, but it lives from the encounters and the possibility to try out dialogue. So I think that's the most important part of the week.
Thank you so much for speaking to Neighbourhood News.
Yeah, thank you.
And we hope you, the listeners, enjoyed this episode of Neighbourhood News audio story. Follow the series wherever you get your podcasts. Also remember to subscribe to Neighbourhood News, news you can use, your weekly English language digital newsletter directly in your inbox. The links are in the show notes. Thanks for listening. See you in the next episode.